on the top now. No, nothing can move you.
Well, good day, good day. Welcome to another episode of the Bobby Brown Show. There's a difference between a stellar performer, a stellar actor or actress, and then there's a decent actor and actress. Now, you got two Aretha Franklin movies coming out right now. One is appearing on National Geographic series called Genius. The first one, I believe, was about Albert Einstein. The second one was about Picasso. They decided to make the third one about Aretha Franklin. Why? I don't know. I don't understand. Because they could have went with anybody. They could have did Elvis. They could have did John Lee Hooker. They could have did Charlie Chaplin. But they decided to do Aretha Franklin, and I'm wondering, why are you guys deciding to do an Aretha Franklin version and make it a series on National Geographic, knowing very well that there's already been a movie produced about Aretha Franklin called Respect. On the title would say All Hail the Queen, and you got British Nigerian actress, whatever you want to call it, Cynthia Erivo playing Aretha Franklin, and the biopic coming out in theaters, Respect, is being played by Jennifer Hudson. Let's talk. I recently went on, was looking at the trailers of both movies. Okay, because it really don't matter. Now look, if you're going to play an iconic figure in American history, I believe the person who should at least get the same equal opportunity to play those roles should be people who grew up with these people as their icon. They mimicked them. They wanted to be them. They idolized them. Give them the opportunity to do that. But oftentimes Hollywood is skipping native-born Black American actors, and they're skipping them, going straight to the British actors. Now, I'm not saying British actors ain't got the skills to pay the bills. I'm not saying they're not talented. You got a lot of talented British actors. You got a lot of talent Black actors from all various former countries, Australia, Africa, you name it, Europe. You got some talented actors. But oftentimes, these people are not even familiar with the character. Case in point, the movie Judas and the Black Messiah. The brother who's playing Fred Hampton didn't have a real true familiarity with Fred Hampton. Now, the brother is a good actor. Cynthia Erivo is a good actor. A lot of these foreign actors and actresses are good. But just because you're good don't mean this role is for you. Now, I got a lot of people on social media hated me because I did this number right here. So, Cynthia Erivo version of Aretha Franklin came out. Now, I made a statement. I said I'm so sick and tired of native-born Black American historic figures being played by everyone but native-born Black Americans. Now, the reason I made that statement is oftentimes Hollywood is picking and choosing who they want to have the role instead of having auditions.
Daniel, how did this project first come to you? Because the story is so unique and so interesting. So tell us about it.
It came to me through Ryan Zinzi Kugler, who produces on the project, and I was on the set of Black Panther in reshoots, and then they just pulled me to the side at the end of the reshoot and said, "Yo, we're making this film about Fred Hampton, Shaka King's directing, Lakeith's involved," and they talked about their reasons and the intentions for the film, and they wanted me to play Chairman Fred.
They don't do open auditions no more. They get a script and they hand it to the person and say, I think you'll be perfect for this role, instead of giving people a fair opportunity to audition for that role. You'll get you to audition for B roles or extras, but these main characters, they know exactly who they want to play that. Now, I put down here Aretha wanted Hudson to play that role. And I said, I do not see a French actor play John Wayne. Now, I stand corrected in that. Somebody got mad and said, if you're sick, take medication. I'm about to watch Hampton's marvelous biopic. I hope you'll stay mad. Now, I watched Judas and the Black Messiah. I watched the movie Judas and the Black Messiah. The script, decent. But not decent, not great. Now, Daniel Kaluuya, he's a good actor. I'm not taking the shine from the brother because he's from Britain. I'm not that type of person. He's a good actor. Breakout role, Get Out. Dude was awesome in Get Out, man. Dude was awesome. Okay? So for you people who think I don't like black foreign actors, get out of here. The dude was awesome in that movie. Now, the person who played the Judas in Judas and the Black Messiah was also in the movie. He was the brother who got jacked up that he took with the picture. He was the brother at the beginning of the movie that got jacked up. He's also a great actor. Now, the whole movie wasn't even focused on Fred Hampton, but yet Daniel is getting the Oscar nod. Daniel did not look like Fred Hampton. He did not talk like Fred Hampton. His mannerism was nowhere near Fred Hampton. You saw Daniel playing Fred Hampton. You didn't see Daniel turn into Fred Hampton. And that is the greatness of an awesome, iconic actor or actress. When they can take a role and you can't even see them. You see the person that they're playing. Don't get me wrong. Daniel was good in Black Panther. Daniel has been good in a lot of movies. But for him to be given that role and him himself not even being familiar with the legacy of Fred Hampton. Now, the brother playing the snitch, the FBI informant, that guy did a stellar performance. He gets nothing. No shine. That guy played the FBI informant that if you go back and look at the videos of him in that interview with Eye on the Prize interview featuring him and the side-by-side of him and the original person, it was almost identical. Of course, dude killed himself right after he saw himself on that interview. But this guy played this, to me, he played the role right. Now, on the movie that Sacha Baron Cohen is up for Oscar for, now he played that character. Now, I'll go back to that later on. You didn't see Sasha. Even though you saw the features of Sasha, you saw him playing the main role. He became that person. The person who was playing Bobby Seale, an African brother, not from this country, or at least he's not, legacy doesn't come from the root of this country. He did good at Bobby Seale. But the person who had more of an influence for his black on that movie was the person that was playing Fred Hampton. Now look, and I mentioned that in my back and forth on YouTube, that brother played Fred Hampton more than Daniel. His mannerism was for him. You go watch YouTube, you'll see the whole entire mannerism of Fred Hampton. He mimicked that, and I don't think he had over 50 words to say in the movie, but he was more Fred Hampton than Daniel. Do that mean Daniel's not a good actor? Daniel's a great actor. But when you open the roles for other people to try out, like honestly they must have did in this movie about the Chicago 7, I think it's Chicago 7, the trial about the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, that brother probably would have got that role because you saw Fred Hampton in that brother. His entire mannerism. The brother was young. Daniel is 35 years old, playing a 21-year-old kid. Come on, get out of here. Here, it say the haters on this thread criticizing Cynthia Erivo couldn't carry a water. Cynthia Erivo didn't become famous by accident. That's why she's rich. It's hilarious to me that people with no talent criticize people with talent. How many movies and albums have you made? Both Cynthia and Jennifer are black queens and should be celebrated, but we have a lot. Both have a lot to offer, unlike you, but you are more welcome to your opinions. Now, this was somebody responding to somebody who said, I'll wait for the great Aretha Franklin pick for Jennifer Hudson. So I'm going to address it today because people just don't understand where we're coming from with this, okay? You have movies like Malcolm X. You saw Malcolm X. You didn't see Denzel Washington. Movies like Ray Charles. You saw Ray Charles. You did not see Jamie Foxx. Heck, I was a big fan of Leonardo DiCaprio, but every time he played a role from Hughes to, I always saw him. And I'm like, when you going to have that breakout role? Now, his best breakout role was a role where he didn't say anything. He got beat up by a bear in the Irrelevant. He played that role. But to me, playing Calvin Candy in Django, you didn't see Leonardo DiCaprio, you saw Calvin Candy. Even with Samuel L. Jackson, just about every movie Samuel L. Jackson, you'd see Samuel L. Jackson is a great actor, but he never really had that breakout role where you don't see Samuel until he played Stephen from Django. Even though I still saw his mannerism in Stephen from Django. Or Django. I can go Daniel Day. You didn't see Daniel Day. You saw Abraham Lincoln. Harriet Tubman. See, when I saw Cynthia Erivo playing Harriet Tubman, I didn't see Harriet Tubman in Cynthia Erivo. She didn't become Harriet Tubman to me. But when you saw Cicely Tyson in her role as Black Moses, as the great Harriet Tubman, you saw Harriet Tubman. Denzel Washington, when he played in Training Day, you saw a man look like Denzel Washington, but you hated him because he played the character. I can't even think of the character in there. I can't even think of the character. So I can go on and on and on about the different people. Forrest Whitaker, when he played a foreign icon in Africa, Idi Amin. You didn't see Forrest Whitaker, you saw Idi Amin. Idris Elba, when he played South African President, Mandela, it wasn't top notch, but I saw Mandela in Idris Elba. I also saw Mandela in Morgan Freeman. And see, this is where you don't have to be a talented person, know how to sing, to know whether somebody can sing or not. There's a difference between somebody singing and somebody sang, S-A-N-G. There's a difference between an artist and a performer. You got a lot of people that know how to perform on stage, but they're not an artist. Beyonce, a great performer on the stage, but she's not a musically talented artist. Prince offered her the opportunity to learn how to play and things like that, write her own songs. But no, she's a singer and a dancer. She's a performer. But for his music creation, arranging and things like that, it's not her, but she's still a top-notch performer. So I can go on and on and on about where I come from when it comes to entertainment, movies, singing, and things like that. And in this particular series, I want to address the people because I do want to make sure everybody get a fair share when it comes to auditioning for different roles, especially when it comes to Black, Native American, Black historic icons in the United States that help shape this country. It shouldn't be, to me, honestly, for a movie theater in America to automatically go to somebody in another country and say, I want you to play the role of this iconic person. I mean, I'm not, and it don't matter color. I'm not a fan of you going to what's his name that played James Bond? To me, I don't think I really can't see Daniel Craig playing the biopic of John Wayne. I really can't, because the characters he played just don't fit that. Now, for him to actually become John Wayne would take a lot of research, a lot of spending time on the, in Hollywood, being around his family, understanding him, watching a lot of John Wayne films. Not saying he can't do it, but I can't see him becoming John Wayne where you saw John Wayne in him. And that's why I say some roles, even though you may be a great actor or actress, some roles are just not for you. It's just like, even though you're a great singer, that don't mean every song is for you. When I saw the movie Bohemian Rhapsody, I didn't see Rami Malek when he played Freddie Mercury. Even though I saw Rami Malek eyes, when he became Freddie Mercury, he became Freddie Mercury. See, a great, uncommon, incredible, super talented actor or actress don't just take a role. First, they don't mind auditioning for the role. They prove that they deserve the role. They don't like somebody handing them a role, and oftentimes when somebody hands them a role, they turn it down. They turn it down because they don't want to look like they were given something, and also, they don't want to disrespect the role. They don't want to bring a dishonor. They fear taking on the role because it may discredit the person that they're playing. Rami Malek became Freddie Mercury. I'm a big Queen guy when I was coming up. I was on Black Rocker back in the day, and I loved Queens. And he played that role. He became Freddie. He learned the pianos. He learned Freddie's move. He learned Freddie mannerism. He learned how to sing like Freddie. He learned how to perform like Freddie. He went to town. He spent a lot of hours, a lot of days, a lot of months. No matter what it took, he was determined to not play Freddie Mercury, but become Freddie Mercury. See, a lot of you people who up here get mad at me because I said, there's a lot of reasons I'm not a fan of Cynthia Erivo playing this role. I really didn't like the role she played as Harriet Tubman. I'm not saying she can't play great iconic roles, but you can see from just who she is and the way she's shaped and the way she talk and the way she walk, and certain roles are not for her. Yes, she's beautiful. Yes, she can sing. Yes, she can act. But that does not mean every role is for you and you should take every role. Especially when the family already picked who they want for that role. Let me keep going. For an example, when Ben Kingsley played Mahatma Gandhi, you didn't see Ben Kingsley. Ben Kingsley became Gandhi. He shed off the pounds. He spent time in India. Whatever Gandhi did, he tried to mimic that. He was willing to go through the blood, sweat, and tears to become Gandhi, and as a result of it, dude got an Oscar. Same thing with Judi Dench. Judi Dench became Queen Elizabeth. You didn't see Judi Dench, even though you see her on the James Bond movies. In that particular movie, she became Queen Elizabeth. Like I talked about on Forrest Whitaker. Man, when I saw that movie with Forrest Whitaker, I didn't even see Forrest Whitaker. Yeah, number one, he made himself darker than as I don't know what. But you saw Idi Amin, man, in him. Sean Penn playing Harvey Milk. I mean, I look at Harvey Milk picture and I look at Sean Penn picture, man. It's almost identical. He looked like him. He sounded like him. His mannerism was like him. He was willing to, even though he's a heterosexual dude, he was willing to take on the role of being homosexual for that role. That takes some guts, because I ain't doing that. He became Harvey Milk. So I'm talking about these different people, and it don't matter where they're from. Meryl Streep, when she played Margaret Thatcher, she became Margaret Thatcher. You didn't see Meryl Streep and The Devil Wears Prada and all that. No, you saw Margaret Thatcher and Meryl Streep. I can go on and on and on, but let me start with Daniel Day, man, because Daniel Day had that the brother who played Martin Luther King and Selma. That ain't it, bruh. That wasn't it. And this is what I talked about, miscasting. You're just casting whoever you want and not having a whole bunch of real serious deal auditioning. But Daniel Lewis played that Abraham Lincoln. And for you people who think I don't like foreigners, Daniel Day is from England. You know, and I can keep going on and on. Like I said, when you see Denzel Washington, Malcolm X, you saw Malcolm X, you didn't see Denzel Washington. You saw Ray Charles, you did not see Jamie Foxx. Even when it came to Chadwick Boseman, he played James Brown. Slim as he was, and you can see Chadwick in your face, I bought him as James Brown. Rob, what are you getting at? This is what I'm getting at. People up here are getting upset, thinking I'm just crapping on the sister. Honestly speaking, tell you my opinion. These are my opinions. I'm entitled to it, whether you like it or not, and we just have a difference of opinion. Color Purple, the theater version, Cynthia nailed it. Great singing, great acting. Nailed it. Aretha Franklin, according to Cynthia, was there to see her and gave her props for her singing. And according to her, she said that's all she needed. All you needed for what? To play her in a movie? Did she talk to you about playing her in a movie? To all black actors, be careful on the roles that you play. They can make you or break you. Be sensitive about the roles you play. Because not only they can make you or break you, but you can make and break the person that you're playing. I absolutely do believe that whenever there's an opportunity for a Black American icon to be played, you got to give Native blacks the opportunity to audition. Now, if the person that's not Native have the skills and they blow out, honestly blow out the Native black, what can I say? It's a business. You want to get the best person in that role who can take that role and become that role. I was thinking about Jim Carrey when he played Andy Kaufman for Man Over the Moon. He got so far into that character that it pissed his wife off when he came home. He couldn't snap out of it. He was Andy Kaufman during the whole time. He would walk across the set. He would taunt people like Andy Kaufman used to taunt people. He taunt Jerry the King Lawyer in real life. You ought to go hear Jerry the King Lawyer story about Jim Carrey. You're like, oh, Jim, I'm about to knock you in your freaking face, man. Step off. But Jim didn't want to break character, and that's what I'm talking about. A true iconic actor or actress, they become the person. They eat, sleep, they dream, they become the person. This is why, even though I saw Cynthia Erivo's version of Genius, which the story writing was good, the characters were good, she was good, but I didn't see her as Aretha. I saw Cynthia playing Aretha. I saw the little girl playing young Aretha more than I saw Cynthia, better than I saw Cynthia playing Aretha. Her singing, great as it was not Aretha. Her mannerism was not Aretha. Nothing was Aretha to me. Now you have to honestly say, did she play that role good? If you say yes, then she didn't become. Then that was an iconic role. A role that important, that big, has to be iconic. You have to actually become that person. And this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about preparing for the role to the point that you magically become that person on that stage or on that set. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. In good faith, this work contains fair use of copyrighted and non-copyright images from the public domain and the web for non-commercial, non-profit educational purpose. This work is distributed free. I'm not charging y'all nothing. This ain't no members only video. There's no cash out on here. If you do want to donate, appreciate it, but this has nothing to do with that. The author, that's me, has neither monetized his work. No, this is not monetized, nor saw any profit from its distribution. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for the purpose such as criticism. I'm giving criticism. Common news reporting and teaching, scholarship, research. Fair use. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. And that's what we're talking about. It's non-profit, this is educational, and this is personal use. This work contains original work of commentary and critical analysts. This is original. Quotations are attributed to the original authors and sources. So, some of the music you're going to hear here is, I don't have the rights to this, but I am critiquing the difference between playing Aretha and becoming Aretha. Now, look, the movie for Jennifer Hudson is not out, so I can't assume that she's going to become Aretha. But she sure been spending a whole lot of time waiting her life for this role. Now, when she was doing an audition for American Idol, her first song was an Aretha Franklin song. She's been an Aretha Franklin fan all her life. She mimicked her. She acted like her. She wanted to be her. She was her inspiration into singing in the first place. Then she met Aretha and it changed her life. And this is what she had to say about meeting Aretha Franklin. Jennifer Hudson and Cynthia Erivo play Aretha Franklin. Who did it better? One of the most awaited films this year is Respect. It's a biopic film about Aretha Franklin. Grammy and Oscar winner Jennifer Hudson will play the legend in her prime era around the 1960s and to 70s, 1970. MGM, not National Geographic, created a biopic of the legendary 60s soul singer Aretha Franklin. This film tells the story of Aretha Franklin's career revival from singing children in her father's choir to international superstar. MGM wrote in a statement, respect, and that's what this whole thing is about. Respecting the honor of Aretha Franklin instead of disrespecting her, doing something opposite of what she wanted or desired. Respect is an incredible true story of a music icon journey to define his own voice or her own voice, he continued. In addition to the Oscar-winning Jennifer Hudson, the film will also star Forrest Whitaker, Marlon Wayans. See, I'm excited to see Marlon Wayans playing a serious role. And is an important part of the film. Audra McDaniels, Mark Maron, Titus Burgess, Sakon Singablo, probably a native, I don't know. Probably foreign. You know, like I said, I ain't got no problem with foreign actors playing the role if they were auditioned for the role and won and got the role. Haley Kilgore, Sky Dakota Turner, Tate Donovan, and Mary J. Blige will also take part. Liza Tommy will direct the movie. Tommy, and listen to this, since you people want to make a big deal about Robbie, you hate Native, anybody other than American Black. Tommy is a South African woman director and playwright. She also have other projects coming up as well, namely Born a Crime, starring Lupita Nyong'o. Now, another great actress. Lupita stunned me in that role in 12 Years a Slave. Stunned me. And she deserved her award. But let me keep going. All right, so we're going to see the first trailer. We're going to see Jennifer Hudson trailer for Aretha Franklin. Respect.
How many albums have you had?
4.
And no hits. Honey, find the songs that move you. Until you do that, you ain't going nowhere.
Mary J. Blige plays Diana Washington. Great singer.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Take care, T-C-D.
Aretha, you do talk, don't you? Not just sing?
I like you to call me Miss Franklin. You have to disturb the peace when you can't get no peace.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Find out what it means to me.
Now, what's important is everything in becoming a character, mannerism, the way they talk, the way they sing, the way they react. Let me go ahead to the next trailer. All right, so here's Cynthia Erivo. Now, don't get me wrong, Cynthia Erivo, very beautiful woman, very beautiful black woman, and I'm a fair, I like women with short hair, especially blonde hair, and she wears it well. Plus, you people who think I don't like Cynthia Erivo did good. And I loved her in the movie with I think Widows, but I think honestly speaking, the character she played as Harriet Tubman, I didn't think that was a fit for her. And when she played the role, I did not see her as Harriet Tubman. But it was a lot of lies in that script. Some parts was good, especially the woman of faith part about Harriet Tubman. But the black slave hunter and all that get out of here with that crap, man. And the love relationship between her slave owner and her, get out of here with a bunch of lies. And they knew they couldn't get a real native to play that role, because any native with a native black, that's what I mean, ADOS, foundational black, they would have said, man, that wasn't even in the book written by Harriet Tubman. Why are y'all going away from this? So this is what a lot of Hollywood theaters do when they want to just come up with any kind of script to their liking. They will not go to most native black actors and actors, because we gonna look at the script, and if we see some foolishness or some funny mess, we gonna look, bro, ain't no way I'm gonna shame that lady like that. take your role, turn it sideways, and stick it up your behind. But we're going to pay you all this money. Man, you can't pay me enough money to shame the legacy of Harriet Tubman, because that movie did shame the legacy of Harriet Tubman. A lot of stuff in that script was not true. And it shamed the legacy. And they try to get anybody to play that role. And Cynthia Erivo, being the great actress she is, who really probably never even read the biography of Harriet Tubman. Now, honestly speaking, I probably didn't read it, because if she read it and saw that script, she probably would have said, no, I ain't doing that mess. Now, let's go to her role. Now, I watched this movie. It was decent, but it wasn't stellar to me. I saw her playing Aretha Franklin. She didn't have the mannerism of Aretha Franklin. Even her singing was nowhere near the level of Aretha Franklin. See, when Rami Malek played, even when, what's his name, played Elton John, the mannerism, the music, and everything had you caught up thinking that dude was Elton John. I literally thought Rami Malek was Freddie Mercury. And that iconic performance that he did at the end in Wembley Stadium was almost identical to Freddie's last major performance on stage before he died. He brought that to life. He didn't even want to go into detail, because Sacha Baron Cohen had a script. He wanted to play Freddie Mercury. What he wanted to play everything concerning Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury probably wouldn't even approved of. But Rami Malek, he played that role of Freddie Mercury that it made Queens look good, to the point that Queens, they gave it the thumbs up. So let's look at the trailer for Genius. Now, I'm not telling people not to watch it. I'm telling you, you can watch it, but I guarantee you it ain't going to be nowhere near as great as the Respect movie.
People of the world, hereby crown you queen.
Okay.
I'm writing a new song. It's gonna hit you hard. I thought you were my man. It'll get under your skin, right down to the bone.
And let me go back to this.
Right down.
It said Ron Howard. Now, let me say this. Aretha Franklin were already working on her own movie. She already picked who she wanted to play. She gave consultation on some of this movie before she died. Now, for Opie, Ryan Glass was a great director. To decide to take part in this particular movie without getting any kind of approval from the Queen of Soul, from her family, just go ahead and make it, and 9 times 10 put some stuff in there that's probably not supposed to be there, and then cast somebody else to play her, knowing full well that MGM got a movie coming out also, all to cater toward National Geographic. National Geographic could have put anybody in that place. How about Michael Jackson? How about Stevie Wonder? Neither one of those guys got a movie coming out right now. Nobody's working on it. But they've been working on this movie for Aretha Franklin for Respect for a few years now. And for them to come out with their own version is not only a piss on the grave, a spit on the grave of Aretha Franklin, it is very disrespectful. And for Cynthia Erivo to even take the role, yes, I know she probably could bring honor to her, as one article says. But the way you bring honor to her is honor her wish. And don't take the role. Find another role to play. and find one that you are close to. See, Jennifer Hudson knew she had a connection to Aretha Franklin. Well, let's watch this.
It'll get under your skin, right down to the bone. It's gonna be a whole new vibe that brings people together. I'm just a link in your chain.
Well, you only got 3 chords?
I will make them sound like $1 million. Chain, chain, chain. Chain, chain, chain.
In recognition of all you've done, the people of the world hereby crown you Queen of Soul.
Make sure the world only sees the Aretha Franklin you want them to.
Yeah, got me where you want.
You're gonna remember her name, Aretha.
Nothing but your food.
She's too young to go out there.
Treating me. Oh, you're treating me cruel.
It's easier for a woman to be the helpmate of a king than it is for a man to be the helpmate of a queen.
Don't let that queen thing go to your head.
I'm gonna let that queen thing go wherever I want it to. Times are changing, and I want to keep changing with it. You got to disturb the peace when you can't get no peace.
This is what you were meant to do. You just got to flaunt your power.
There will never be another one like me.
So that movie, it is out now on National Geographic of all places, and it's part of their Genius series. They put a lot in there to try to get you to take a look at it. Now, honestly speaking, like I said, great singer, great actor, but she, in this, I don't see her as Aretha Franklin. I see her playing Aretha Franklin and not meeting the challenge. Now, you may differ from me, but when I see Jennifer Hudson meeting the challenge, it ain't got nothing to do with her lineage. But I do believe it has something to do with connection. With connection. For an example, and let me bring this up. Jennifer Hudson went on Entertainment. They did an article on her. This was October the 15th, 2020. Amazing Grace, Jennifer Hudson becomes Aretha Franklin in a at long last biopic respect. It came as less of a request, you could say, than a royal summons. Jennifer Hudson, then 25, and still spinning from a surreal year that saw her go from former American Idol contestant to Academy Award winner for her very first time role in 2006. Musical extravaganza Dreamgirls. Great movie. She received the invitation from a certain Queen of Soul. Now look, right off American Idol, which she didn't win, but they kept her, because that's what American Idol do. They get contracts with most of the top 10 singers of that year, and they usually go on tour sing. But Jennifer ended up coming out with a very, very incredible album. Then she got cast in this role in Dreamgirls. And it wasn't intended for her to break out. She just broke out. Immediately, she received the invitation from a certain Queen of Soul. She said, we met in New York. And one of the first things she said to me was, you're going to win another Oscar for playing me, right? You're going to win another Oscar for playing me, right? In other words, Aretha Franklin chose her to play her. Well, she didn't know Cynthia then. Well, she knew Cynthia later, but she still didn't chose her. She chose Jennifer Hudson. Aretha Franklin looking you in the face and saying that, husband, now 39. Remember, this is when she was 25. Saying with an improbable, harmonious cackle, yes, even her laugh sounds like a melody. I was like, I can try. See, she knew that to play this iconic role, you got to think about. Even when you're chosen to play this role, you got to think about it. You just can't say, yeah, I'm going to think about it. You have the Queen of Soul coming to you, seeing your success on your first album, seeing your success on Dreamgirls, seeing you get an Oscar right off the bat. And not saying Cynthia don't have the skills to do things like that, but there's a difference between a good singer and a iconic singer. Jennifer Hudson is an iconic singer. Don't get me wrong, because I'm going to show you Cynthia Erivo can sing. But you're going to see the clear difference between Cynthia Erivo and Jennifer Hudson. Now, people say, well, Jennifer Hudson isn't a good actress as Cynthia Erivo. A lot of time, acting don't have anything to do with your acting skills. It's your ability to actually become someone. Because we've seen people who didn't have acting skills. For example, Michael B. Jordan didn't really have that much of acting skills. Now look where he's gone now. Heck, the brother that played Tupac, he played a great Tupac in the Tupac movie. The script could have been a whole lot better. But for his first time acting straight from the Target store, the brother did a good job. Now you put him in a couple more roles, he's going to be iconic. Cynthia Erivo is going to be a couple of iconic. But this particular role just wasn't her. That's my personal opinion, but I'm quite sure a lot of people believe that. And as you look at the difference in the movie, you're going to say Rob was right. Certain roles may be good. Maybe somebody may pick and think you're good for it. You may think you're good for it, but when you see the finished product, you say, man, I could have did a whole lot more. No, it's not about that. It's just that certain things are just not tailor-made fit for you. Let me keep going. We met, it would take more than a decade. It would take more than a decade, but with Franklin's blessing, though not sadly her presence, the singer lost her fight with pancreatic neuroendocrine cancer in 2018 and 76. Her hand-picked successor will finally appear on screen this January in MGM's Respect. Now I'm going somewhere with this because it's called Honor, Respect, and to know these things and still write a script, still try to do a movie, to still try to contract with National Geographic, to still try to seek out an artist, let alone one that was not approved by her, is not respect. Is disrespect. And it honestly make me don't respect Cynthia Erivo as much as I could have if she denied the role. She could have denied the role. I don't care how good she is in this role. The fact that this thing been brewing for over 10 years, she have a select pick. And you can apologize and you say, I'm ready for her version. The point is, you got a version, she have a version, and it should be her with the only version. To take a role like that and spend time and energy trying to act that role, knowing somebody else was picked for that role, is very disrespectful and is very dishonoring. And it takes away from your personal character. her hand-picked successor, will finally appear on screen this January in MGM's Respect, a portrait of the artist as a young woman helmed by award-winning theater director Lasso Tommy Eclipse from the movie Eclipse, and featured the Egati Manalith, I don't know what the heck that means, of co-stars. Or Ego to Monolith, including Forrest Whitaker, Audrey McDonald, Mary J. Blige, Marlon Wayans, and going on and on. I'm going to let her talk about her meeting Aretha Franklin. It's about respect and honoring, not only when she was alive, but honoring her death. I don't care how great the script is. I don't care how great you think you could be in the role. She did not pick you. Shame on Ron Howard. And shame on Cynthia. And I know y'all say, why are you going to tear this sister down? The sister is tearing a queen down. You want to talk about this, brother, whoever said this. You want to talk about these two queens? We got two black people playing that role. Of course. It's only one black person supposed to be playing that role at this moment, handpicked by the queen herself. Not two. No, we don't expect, we don't expect some other color to play this role. Of course, it's going to be black. But she handpicked her. This was her wish. This is one of her dying wish. That's why I will not support it, because I'm not going to dishonor her dying wish. Now, like I said, I did it for show purposes, but I'm not going to disrespect her dying wish. Let's listen to her.
Aretha and I had talked about this for over 15 years. And it's like, is it really happening now? Like, no, this is real.
Fair use, fair use. Her and Aretha were close. They've been talking about this for 15 years, and you're going to let some movie company hire or handpick Cynthia Erivo to just take a toilet paper full of poop and wipe or cut in, whatever you want to call, in the middle of what they've been preparing for all this time. You're going to let this movie come in to try to take away from that, to try to steal thunder for that. Well, both of them shining. Nobody should be shining in that role but the person that she picked for this role. Now, I'm not going to go into this, but she said they've been working on this for years. Let me go back to that. That's important. This is why I says it was very disrespectful for Cynthia Erivo to take that role.
Aretha and I had talked about this for over 15 years. And it's like, is it really happening now? Like, no, this is real.
Let me go back to that.
Aretha and I had talked about this for over 15 years. And it's like, is it really happening now? Like, no, this is real.
One more
Aretha
time.
and I had talked about this for over 15 years. And it's like, is it really happening now?
That shit say it all. Reigning in life, lived so largely and inevitably, was one of Tommy's first tasks. I sometimes feel when you were watching the Cradle to Grave biopic, whether it's a politician or a musician, is too general for my personal storytelling. Whether it's a politician or a musician is too general for my personal storytelling taste, says the Cape Town native. Because then you start to check things off a list instead of having them driven by an emotional journey. So I was interested in focusing on the finite period and really understanding how she became who she became. According to the story, beginning in the late 1940s when Franklin was a child, and concluded approximately around the time that she recorded 1970's two Amazing Grace, the double album opus that would become both her own biggest seller and the most successful live gospel recording of all times. But as Tommy and screenwriter Tracy Scott Wilson began to dig in, they quickly realized just how little of the notorious reticent star life was truly known. The crippling of shyness of her youth, the 2 babies she gave birth to before age 16, the private hardship and heartache she poured into songs the whole world would sing along to. It's part of the Black American culture. If you're a certain age, Aretha was in your house. And this is what I'm talking about, legacy. American culture legacy does matter when it comes to casting these roles. When you cast these roles, you can have an open casting, but you got to ask history. You got to see if these persons really know these characters. You just can't pick them because it's going to steal away from the power of the character if they have not grown up or being familiar with this character. Not when you call them and ask them to take on the role and they decide to go study up them on YouTube. I'm talking about people who grew up with these characters, attached to these characters, someone wanted to be these characters. If you're a certain age, Aretha was in your house in some way, shape, or form. I don't remember my life without her voice, says Broadway veteran McDonald, 50, who portrays Franklin's mother. You hear that? I don't remember my life without her voice. I lived and breathed Aretha Franklin ever since I was a child. She portrays Franklin's mother. Barbara, a gifted singer in her own right, fell by a heart attack when her daughter was just 10. So I don't want to say I was surprised at what I learned, but in some ways it made sense because the depth to which she goes to the bottom of her soul, to the bottom of her toes when she sings, that has to come from someone who knows all of it, knows joy, knows sorrow, knows absolutely pain and grief. Now, saying that with Cynthia, I don't see that. I'm sorry. Seeing that with Jennifer Hudson, knowing the pain of her losing her family, murder, her breakup with the guy who wrestled, well, he plays on wrestling, what is his name, the attorney, they got a baby, being told that you're not good enough to be a star. See, everybody says Cynthia Erivo is a star. No, she probably never heard that you can never be a star. But Jennifer was told that she'll never make it. For Hudson, whose own mother, brother, and young nephew was killed in a devastating 2008 shooting, there was a deeply personal resonance in that legacy of loss. She and Franklin would have weekly conversations in preparation for the film. Let me repeat that. She and Franklin, not Erivo and Franklin, Hudson and Franklin, would have weekly conversation in preparation for the film. And even though the older singer kept certain things close, having to experience so much soon, and then to have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulder, that's a lot. I can understand that, Hudson says quietly. I think she grew her shield, her wall at a very early age. And the way she found to express herself was through her music, and that was her outlet. See, when you are spending time, there's one thing to watch videos and try to get an understanding from script, but to be with the person and let her tell it like a TI is, make a stronger effect on your ability to become that person than you getting some kind of script. There was also a gift, she said, that didn't have to shout to be heard. Aretha was a very subtle person. It wasn't how did she know? Because she spent quality time with her. It wasn't a lot of big gestures, whereas I'm far more expressive. She had this presence, but also this stillness about her. So I would tell everybody on the set, if you don't feel uncomfortable when I'm around, then I'm not giving you Aretha at all, she says, laughing. Whatever the outer limits of Hudson's talent, she cannot play a little girl, so that task falls at the outset of the 11-year-old girl, Sky Dakota Turner, who's played Franklin. Now, look, I'm going to stop here for a second. Honestly speaking, I think the girl who played Franklin in the TV version was better than Cynthia. Now, let me continue. Sky Dakota Turner, whom in a sort of double diva twist, Respect had to share with the Broadway musical Tina, where she was already appearing 8 times a week as young Tina Turner. It was a long couple months, the tiny, mighty voice actress admits with the giggle. For all that Franklin endured in her formative years, though their one origin story touchstone you won't find here, the rags to riches rise of her preacher, Father C.L. Wilson says, was basically the king of his time. Hugely popular and influential, a mentor to Martin Luther King Jr., so she grew up in a household where politics was as normal as singing. According to the movie depiction of Aretha's childhood is filled with black luminaries of the era. Not only MLK, but names like Ella Fitzgerald, Sam Cooke, Dinah Washington, the latter portrayed vividly by Blige, and with the Holy Spirit too. Even though the tones when CL was preaching, you would feel that in her. What you want, baby, I got it. Hudson says her mezzo-soprano rising casually to meet the classic refrain. It was always there, you know, everything from respect to natural woman to never love the man. It always had that soul, that church, that gospel in it. It's a long article. Y'all read that. I'm not going to read that. Get a chance, come up here and read this. Oh, no, that might be important for me to read this. You know, it just shows the detail of they had to do on this movie. Let me go to the next one, okay? All right, so Cynthia Erivo has nothing but respect for Jennifer Hudson's portrayal of Aretha Franklin. Oh, really? Cynthia Erivo has nothing but respect for Jennifer Hudson's portrayal of Aretha Franklin. On Tuesday, March 16, All News, E! News, Daily Pop, caught up with E's Justin Sylvester and discussed her role with the third installment of Genius. As E! News readers well know, the new season titled Genius, Aretha, follows the incredible career and life of the Queen of Soul. I felt like I had a responsibility to try and tell the story as fully and truthfully as honestly as it possibly could. Cynthia started off so dauntingly, yes, but also really excited me. My question is, Miss Erivo, if you have respect for Jennifer Hudson, if you had respect for Aretha Franklin, number one, why did you take the role? Number two, why are you trying to take away from something so iconic? This movie is supposed to be an iconic portrayal of Aretha Franklin by the person who she believed can play her the best. By somebody who knows her intimate part of her. You said here I felt like I had a responsibility. Why? Why do you feel like you had a responsibility to try and tell the story of her when somebody already been commissioned by her to tell her story? With a small screen treatment of Aretha's life will be premiering on Nat Geo this weekend. The Jennifer Hudson-led biopic is also coming later this year. Yet, as the Harriet actress noted on Daily Pop, both Aretha-centric products deserve your respect. How are you going to tell us that we need to respect your version, the Ron Howard version, when Aretha have her one and only version and only wanted that one to come out? To do anything otherwise is disrespectful. So you're disrespectful and Ron Howard is disrespectful. Not only are they disrespectful, the movie producers are disrespectful and National Geographic is very disrespectful. Out of all people, they had to do a Aretha Franklin movie. Why? I don't know. Many artists they can do. Sam Cooke. Heck, they can do your boy from Cameo. They had to do this one, knowing that there's a theater version coming out. She said, I'm greedy, so any Aretha I can get, I'm getting, she said. I want to hear Aretha coming out of Jennifer's mouth. Those two have a really special relationship. Yes, they do. So if you know you have a special relationship, then you need to stop being greedy, taking no role of Aretha. Now, it's too late. She played the role. And honestly speaking, it's a B version of Aretha. She don't even look nothing like Aretha.
Cynthia Erivo has taken on...
As she continued, the 34-year-old actress singer said she was so excited that there are multiple projects celebrating Aretha. But baby, you gotta understand, they could come out with them all the time, but that wasn't approved by her. She had her movie, she had her pick. Why would you sit there and let them come up with other ones? And why would you say, I want to play her too? Then she said something that we as black men, women barely get. So to have her celebrate like this is cool. It is not a celebration of her. Don't try to spin this saying multiple versions of this movie is a celebration of her. No, honoring and respecting the one movie is a celebration of her. There's multiple people that played Malcolm X. They had this guy play Malcolm X in the last movie by your girl from 227. What's her name? One Night in Miami. He ain't Denzel. I don't want to see multiple versions of Malcolm X coming out. I don't want to see multiple versions of the Michael Jackson story, the Prince story. Give me one and make sure it's a knock it out the park. Something that can last for years, for decades. I don't want to see another Gandhi movie. Your boy killed that movie. I don't want to see another movie about Freddie Mercury. I don't want to see another movie about Ray Charles. We don't need that. Those movies, celebrate them. Stop using this as excuse. I don't even want to finish reading this article because it's pissing me off. Cynthia Erivo says she didn't need anything else after Aretha Franklin told her she can sing. Well, that's great. But she didn't tell you you can sing in her movie. She didn't pick you. Yeah, you're good, girl. You can sing your butt off. Oh, you can sing. But you can't sing me. I mean, you probably can, but Jennifer got that, baby. Here's an article, LA Times. Aretha Franklin's family doesn't approve of Genius series. This movie has to go. So the family has spoken saying, look, we don't approve this. This got to go. Why are they making this, man? This is total disrespect. And here's them doing a protest on it.
This movie has to go. 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 This movie has to go.
Hi, I'm Grace Franklin. My grandmother is Aretha Franklin. I'm the one pictured in that video, along with my siblings, my parents, and some of my friends. As most people know, there are two biopics of my grandma currently being made: the Respect movie with Jennifer Hudson and the Genius series with Cynthia Erivo. As the immediate family, we feel that it's important to be involved with any biopic of my grandma's life, as it's hard to get any accurate depiction of anyone's life without speaking to the ones closest to them. During the process of writing, directing, and filming this movie, we've reached out to Genius as a family on multiple occasions where we've been disrespected and told that we will not be worked with. As the immediate family, emphasis on immediate, we do not support this film, and we ask that you also do not support this film, as we feel extremely disrespected, and we feel that there will be many inaccuracies about my grandmother's life. Thank you.
I know you love Cynthia. And I know you think every role she should play. Yes, she can sing. Yes, she can act. She probably can dance her behind off. But that doesn't mean anything. There's a clear difference between her and Jennifer Hudson. A clear difference. Jennifer can't be Cynthia, and Cynthia cannot be her. But when it comes to this particular role, some people can capture the essence of the person that they're playing, and some people just can't. You can sing. You can act. You can take on that role. But becoming the person, where you lose yourself in the person, is not the same. And that's why it's important that you spend time with the family. That's why it's important that if you can, spend time with the person themselves, so you can pick up every attribute and trait of that person, so you can become that person in that movie. Cynthia could not become Harriet Tubman. She played Harriet Tubman. She did good. She played it. But she was not Harriet Tubman. And likewise in this movie. So more articles. Aretha Franklin family blast Genius Film for ignoring them, saying it's about respect. Her son had a lot to say about that, claiming the producers of Nat Geo series did not want the family's input. Now you're talking about disrespectful. Cynthia, black sister. How in the hell are you going to take a role where the Nat Geo themselves, Ron Howard themselves, said we don't need none of y'all input. We'll write our own script. And we'll find somebody to play her. You should have said, y'all can take that role and stick it up your behind. Because if you cannot get respect from the family, if you cannot get the family's approval, then I can't disrespect her like that. Besides, she picked somebody else for her movie, and I'm going to step by and let that movie shine on its own. If you got another role for me to play, if you want me to play in the Diana Ross story or whatever, hook me up. But this one belongs to Jennifer. Another article. All right, now here's some good news before I go into the singing. They were told that she didn't have no will. Yeah, I think they said that about Prince, and they said that about Michael Jackson. Let me tell you something, folks. Prince sued to get his rights to his music. So if he's going to go through all that, why wouldn't he have a will? Michael Jackson, all that, why wouldn't he have a will? See, when these black icons die, they always saying they ain't got no will. But here we go. Draft of fourth Aretha Franklin will emerges. 4 wills. 2 years after handwritten wills discovered. So you found her handwritten will, and now they found the 4th will. I'm going to tap into some of the singing. Now, don't get me wrong. Both Aretha can sing. Cynthia Erivo can sing. She tore it up on The Color Purple. I gotta tell you, she can sing her butt off. But Jennifer Hudson can sing. And when you play in this role, it's not just about the acting. But like I said, it's not about you being a great actor in whatever films that you do. It's about this film. Can you become her? Or can you lose who you are and become Aretha Franklin? And clearly you'll see in the trailers the mannerism and the action of one and the mannerism and the actions of the other. The height and the depth and the movements of the body of one and the other. Mannerism matters. The singing matters. The tone matters. The expressions, aggressive or soft, matters. Let's listen to some of the singing. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put up a Cynthia Erivo's version. I'm just going to play one verse. And this is her singing live. Aretha Franklin's song, Love a Man Like I Love You.
Keep telling me that you ain't no good. Oh, they don't know that I'd leave you if I could. I guess I'm uptight and I'm stuck like glue. 'Cause I ain't never, no, no.
Good singing, right? Good singing. Now and you saw her mannerism. Does that look like Aretha Franklin to you? You be the judge. I mean, when you sing Aretha Franklin, you want to bring your own flavor, of course, but you still want to try to, show a little Aretha Franklin. You sing on one of her songs. Well, let's listen to Jennifer Hudson sing the same song.
You're no good, heartbreaker. You're a liar and you're a cheat. And I don't know why I let you do these things to me. My friends keep telling me that you ain't no good. Oh, but they don't know that I'd leave you if I could. I guess I'm uptight and I'm stuck like glue. 'Cause I ain't never loved a man the way that I love you. Sometimes I go.
So, I'm going to end this. My whole point of this particular video, we do entertainment once in a blue moon, is we have two versions of Aretha Franklin. Why? I have no clue. There's already been one in the works for 4 years. They started working on it when she was alive. 2 years ago, Aretha Franklin met both of them, but only one of them, she said, look, you're going to get another Oscar. You're going to get an Oscar playing me. Why would she think that? Because she saw herself in Jennifer Hudson. She saw somebody who could play her. She saw that her and Jennifer Hudson had that connection. She saw herself singing when she heard Jennifer Hudson sing. She would sit there and watch Jennifer Hudson sing her songs all day if she needed to. She enjoyed her singing. She enjoyed her friendship. They developed a long friendship. And then when they started the movie production, she told him, yeah, it's about to go down. I pick you. Now, there's a difference between a movie studio picking the person to play a role and a person to pick a person to play themselves. It's not the same. If somebody personally say, I want you to play me, you got to honor and respect that. If that person has the movie already moving forward and they're on the phone, they're talking about it, and she's trying to understand her heartache, her heartbreaks, her celebration, her joy. She's spending quality time with her phone. She's going to see her. She's spending weekends with her, staying at her house, the whole 9 yards, getting to know Aretha Franklin. And now when it's time to develop the movie in honor of Aretha Franklin, you got some jackleg fool goes to the script, tell Nat Geo, we need to do a version of Aretha Franklin all of a sudden right before her biopic come out. Of all characters you can put on Genius, you decide to put Aretha Franklin, and you're going to get a person that's of non-descent, Native American, black descent to play her. Now, like I said, that's not the main point. It's the point, but it's not a main point, because lineage does matter. Did you grow up knowing this person, familiar with this person, wanting to be this person? Did you grow up? Now, I'm not doubting that Cynthia didn't have an attachment to her as a fan. Just finding out about the person, never really know who this person was. That's very disrespectful. You don't cast nobody in a role like that. You know, you give an open audition and ask each person auditioning, do they know the history of Fred Hampton? So I'm not saying that she didn't have a familiarity and wasn't a fan, but there's a difference between a fan and a friend. And even though Aretha Franklin met her backstage at the Color Purple event, which Cynthia killed it, they didn't have that one-on-one relationship. If Aretha Franklin was alive, you think she would be happy that somebody else is playing her when she wanted Jennifer to play her? No. That's why I say Hollywood and Cynthia Erivo has disrespected the Queen of Soul. Honor and Integrity would have even said, look, I'm not going to disrespect her like that. I would love to play that role, but she did not pick me. She picked her. And to use an excuse that we should celebrate more movies about her, that's a lame excuse for you to go ahead and do it thinking that you're not going to feel guilty. You should be ashamed of yourself taking that role. You should be ashamed. You should shame Ron Howard and all the producers and Nat Geo for doing this particular role. And it's still beyond me, of all people, all the people you could do a genius on. Smokey Robinson, Barry Gordy. You do one on Aretha Franklin right when she got a movie about to come out starring with her pick, one that she got her hands involved in, one that her family got their hands involved in. It was a family affair. You're going to go and support a movie that didn't get the family approval, and Nat Geo said, we don't need your consultant. It's not about your ability to sing, dance, or act. This is upfront disrespect for Aretha Franklin. To not only develop a script, put it on the network, and push it, but to take part as an actress, or actor in the movie is totally disrespectful to Aretha Franklin's own hand-picked version of the story of her life. Right before hers come out is even the worst part of all this. You could have came out with a version 5-10 years ago, but this is clearly throwing shade or throwing another SH word on top of Miss Franklin's grave. This is Bobby Brown with the Bobby Brown Show. I hope you're not turning over in your grave, Aretha Franklin. Hope you're not turning over in your grave.